Welcome to the finale of Kavanah's Minecraft Survivor Season 8, Fantasy Island. This season has been one heck of a ride. Starting off with 15 castaways, we are now left with only 5. Electro. Despite him not being close to winning an immunity challenge, Electro has used his social ability to survive countless close votes, showing how well he gained the trust to the ones around him. Gert. Although we never seen a tribal council early in the game, Gert lost his 2 main allies back-to-back fairly early, forcing him to create new allies, which put him in a very good middle position. Bayback. Very early on, Bayback found himself in a very powerful position when finding the idol, but as time passed, he found himself being left out of countless votes, pushing him further away from the ones he could trust. Light. Just like Gert, Light had a very easy pre-merge, finding himself in a good position with his tribe, but when the swap came around, Light shot himself in the foot when he betrayed one of his original tribe mates, almost resulting in him getting voted off. But ever since then, Light has recovered, and now holds the most immunity wins in this season. Isaac. When Isaac found the idol very early on, he decided to tell the rest of his tribe, which resulted in him being trusted by a lot of his tribe mates. But when Light spilled the beans, Isaac found himself in a tough spot, forced to branch out and make new alliances. Isaac grouped up with the bigger threats in the game, putting his threat level down, but now with no idol to save him, and being the only one left in his big threat alliance, he is now in some deep trouble. Who will be crowned sole survivor of Kavanah's Minecraft Survivor Season 8 Fantasy Island? And who will be voted off tonight?
I played it. I played the idol. I knew coming into this final 6 vote that there was like an 80% chance that it was going to be a 2-2-2 with me being one of the people receiving votes. There was that hope for a while, but the fact that I could not get matching answers from Bayback and Gert really just solidified it for me that I don't know if all 3 of us wanted to do it, but it wasn't going to happen. And it didn't happen. So I'm glad I played it. I'm still in, which means it's not over. My biggest, I think, hope at this point is to convince Electro that Light essentially beats him at the end, that I'm not winning anything. I have not talked to Electro a single time in this game, and we've made it to Final 5 together, which is a part of the reason why I would probably vote Light over Electro in the end, because like Electro never reached out to me. I mean, I never reached out to him either. That's my best shot of making it through here, because I think at this point, yeah, it's very clear that Bayback is not very likely to win. So at this point, it is between me, Light, Electro. And I think like the easy path, that my best hope is to just basically tell Electro that Light is putting me as a big target, so that like, yep, by the time that Electro can do anything about him, it's too late, which is probably honestly the case, because Light is a damn good player. I will say, I mean, I guess there is a possibility that like either Electro or Light might want to take you to the end, but at the same time, it's like, if they wanted to take you to the end, it's because they think they can beat you over each other, which I think your game is very underrated personally. Like, I think you've played a great game so far.
Wow, why thank you.
Because like, as far as I know, like, most of the people in this game have been very comfortable with you. And that's really great. And obviously, I trust you as my number one. I don't know who else does though, but I mean, I trust you as my number one at this point. So my number one goal is just to make it as far as I can. This has been the best possible way that I could have come back into the community. And again, I never know. I don't know if I will ever be able to top this. I could play in something a month later and flop, but I will always be proud of this season.
Well, another tribal, another vote I seem to barely survive, but thanks to, well, not technically, because my absolute Chad number one Baybag played an idol for me, which is great. And apparently, I don't know how the other jury thinks right now, but I might actually be a threat, which I definitely didn't think I was, especially a couple tribals ago. So I might have, if I stay in this, I might have a decent shot to win this thing. Maybe I might want to put a challenge one on my resume if that's even possible. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to keep chugging along and hopefully not make myself too threatening, especially towards the end, because it's getting real dangerous now. So I think there's still a pretty big threat in the game besides me, that being Isaac. So Isaac needs to go. That is mission number one on this next vote.
Final 5. I actually made it to the finale. I thought I was gonna go home to Rocks with an idol in my pocket in the pre-merge. Went to the most tribals out of anyone left apart from Electro as well. And I went to the merge with someone on my back saying like, oh, be careful, it's Bayback. He's a threat. And yet I'm sitting here. I think the most shocking part is I'm sitting here and I'm not even sure if I can win. But I made it here, and I think I have a great shot to make it to the end. I'm super pleased with the people who I'm sitting next to. I was worried that we'd have some sort of GOAT players, but really, no one is a GOAT. Like, I know people just sort of say that a lot of times, but everyone has their own little quirks of their game that makes them unique, like every single person here. Maybe it's just because we've been with each other for so long, even if we haven't like talked to each other that much, but everyone here's cool. It's been fun. It's what I've wanted. It's, you know, we're down to 5 people again, and we all get to really appreciate each other's company, and for the little time we have it before we have to vote each other off.
All right, final 5. Welcome to your next immunity challenge. Light, take it back.
Alright. Take this shit.
In this next immunity challenge, all 5 players must jump into a pool of water to collect 1 piece of wool at a time to create a staircase. After they completed their staircase, they'll head to the shulker wall to reach 2 shulkers full of concrete powder. Once collected, they will attempt to fill a box with the concrete powder. First one to fill their box will win immunity. Survivors ready? Go. Alright, some people need this win. I think actually everybody in the final 5 needs this win. Bayback with this first piece, putting it on the stairs. Light doing the same. Has his first. Bayback has his second. Same as Light. Electro going for a second. Isaac as well. Bayback. Light. Neck and neck. Seems like they got the good strategy of how to get these blocks mined faster. Gurn got his third up. Just a little behind. Light surpasses Bayback. Isaac a little behind. Same as Electro. Light can now move on. Gurn still has one more in place. Bayback is about to place his final one. Electro very close, only has 2 left. Same as Isaac. Bayback can now start doing the parkour. This is now going to be a very close challenge. Gurn now can start the parkour. Gurn wants this immunity just as much as anybody else. Bayback the first one. Now he can start mining his wool off the shulkers, getting his concrete powder out of the shulkers to start filling up his box.
Oh,
Bayback going for his first jump. Throws as much as you possibly can. Throws one in there. Gotta go back
Okay,
up.
Christ. Time for me to struggle on shulker.
Have you gotta do the parkour
for
every
14
time?
minutes.
You gotta do the parkour every time. Light going for another jump. How many can you get this time? 2 more. Light now in getting a big lead. I wouldn't say too big, but he's fairly ahead of most of you guys.
How did that work?
Electro with a
Oh
nice
my
jump.
god.
Payback
the
makes it back up
shulker.
again. Same as Light.
I'm gonna
Payback
do some
needs
like
Light to mess
practice
up
stuff.
if he wants any chance at winning this immunity. Light with 1 more in there. Only has
Payback
5
up
more
there.
to place. Electro in a very close 3rd
God
place.
damn it, so close.
Wow.
The fact that every time I open the shulker, I accidentally grab something from my inventory.
Light
Oh,
back up
that's-
again. Going for this. Bayback as well back up again. Light gets that last piece. Now he only needs 4 more.
Wow,
Bayback
I
going
didn't
for
even
a big
open the
one.
shulker.
Bayback gets one of the top ones, one of the harder ones. True.
Oh,
Ready to
wait,
win.
can you place multiple at once?
You place as many
Yeah.
as you can.
Rise!
Oh,
I made
God.
1 jump.
Okay.
I'm so sad.
Electro, big jump, big jump. Places 1 more.
What the person?
Light. Back
I don't
up.
know. I would have
Go for it.
assumed that there's no camera on me anymore.
Bayback's starting to creep up. On Light now. Light needs to hurry up and get these last 3. Like it's another one. Only 2 left for Light. Bayback back up. Going for another good one, but misses the
Fuck.
whole board. Electro back up.
Yeah.
We want to see 3. We get to. Oh,
Oh,
they
what?
stacked on top of each
Can I
other.
just
so one
spectate
row.
in this bow?
Light.
That's what she said.
Thanks.
True.
1 more in there, and with
Oh,
that,
he did it!
Light wins final 5 individual immunity and automatic
Light.
shot at the final 4.
That's chill.
All right, Light, congratulations. Come up and get it.
All right, so you know what? I'm just gonna make. All right, give me that first of all. Alright, so I'm gonna make a power play here. Electro, you kind of killed it. I'm just kidding.
Well, to the final
And that is
5.
how Light lost Electro's jury vote.
Well, with the final 5, all of you guys have worked so hard to get here, and I'm very, very satisfied with what's happened so far. But one of you will be the next person of the jury, become 5th in this game. Everyone, back to camp.
Well, here we are. Final 5. This season has been an incredible journey for me personally. I played a game that I never thought in the world I would end up playing. I never expected to be that flashy person with the idol that people are trying to flush, but it doesn't quite work. I could not be more happy with how this season has gone. I truly will be satisfied no matter what happens here. Of course, I still want to win if I can. I am going to do my best to make it through this vote, and then I would literally need to win Final 4 immunity.
I'm perfectly fine with this final 5. You know, this group is probably like, honestly, like this cast in general is probably one of the most like chillest and like funnest casts I've been a part of.
I really appreciate y'all taking this journey with me. It's been a great time getting to know y'all, and I love this final 5. Good stuff.
Made me cry, man. But hey,
Here's
like,
the thing.
we started the game with 5 people per tribe. Like, this is how big it was when we started. And we were like, damn, this is a small number. Wow, how small is this number? How crazy is this going to be because of a small number? And now we're it. We are it.
We're the Final 5.
What do
We
you guys
did
think?
it.
You guys think
I
we're
also-
gonna get here?
And personally, no. And I also I don't think any of us thought this was going to be the final 5.
At this point, my best bet is to try to hit someone with a little bit of truth. Like, I'm telling him this because I want him to keep me and give me a shot. But I actually am not sure if it's even really Light's best move to get me out here. Because Light, out of those four, is probably the most likely to win. And, at least from my perspective, he is the most likely to get my jury vote. And if Light loses at the final four and I'm not there, he goes. And that's really the only plea I can make to him at this point. With him being safe, I was kind of maybe hoping I could try to get them to go for each other and make myself the swing vote, but that even if Light was not immune, that was a bit of a reach. So it's been very enjoyable to play this season. And it does feel like it might be about to end, but it's not over till it's over. So I'm gonna do what I can, and we're gonna see how it goes.
Do you think it'd be smart, like, just in case Isaac has an idol for some god? Well, no, that wouldn't make sense.
You're talking about
the only person we can vote out is fucking. Oh my god. Okay, I just really hope.
Nice move.
I mean, okay,
Well,
if you guys are actually worried about an idol, I am perfectly comfortable with you saying my name to him.
it seems that we have made the ultimate decision to boot Isaac out of this game because Isaac needs to go. I don't think there's really anywhere around that. Unless Isaac somehow magically pulls an idol out of his ass and votes one of us off, then Isaac is gone. I mean, he's played a great game, but I'm ready to get this tribal done with and just start moving on with the core four.
I'm just gonna say that. Like, it's been a hectic season so far. I feel like we've had a very awkward alliance, but we're finally together, and yeah, I'm comfortable with being the scapegoat if that's what's easy for you guys. Obviously, I'd love to keep up my streak of no votes against me, but you know, if you're worried about the idol, I'm more than comfortable with that because I trust you.
So, I know I want to go to the end with you, because I think we're all in agreement that Isaac goes next. Who do you want after that? What's his name? Bayback or Light? Because, like, honestly, I know we worked with Light for a bit, but, like, the only reason why I mention this is because everybody's, like, talked about how, like, good he's played.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of on board too, because at first I thought Bayback was a huge threat, but apparently to the jury, for some reason, I mean, he might not be
Bayback
as
is,
big
like,
of a threat, so...
I think Bayback's a go, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be okay with doing Light next if it came to that. I mean, I don't know if any of us can win immunity, but against
We'll
Light,
see,
but
we'll
we'll
see.
have to try our best.
Light won immunity once again. No surprise here. But that's why I messaged Isaac during Tribal last night to play his idol, or a message that got him to play his idol. So Isaac would still be here to go home at the final five. Isaac has been my only reliable ally through this whole game, with my other ones flaming out or going home to rocks. But I don't stand a chance against Isaac. Isaac's the shining star, and I'm the person hiding beneath him. But in order for me to win in the end, I need that brightness to be gone. So I need to vote out Isaac to stand a chance in the end. I think my ideal final three is Bayback and Electro. They've both been literally the duo story, but neither of them have been the person at the forefront of the season. And I feel like they're going to take away votes from each other, and they're going to be the reason why each other lose in the end. When it comes to jury vote, I think I will get the votes of Chill and Cool, maybe Isaac, and anyone that sees my story. I feel like I'm the person that played the middle, the underdog that should have never made it this far. I've got 0 votes so far, and I feel like I deserve to win this game.
I'm completely vulnerable in this game. I'm not gonna win an immunity. I am probably the worst person out of this final five at immunities, and I'm sitting here with Electro. The chances of me winning in the final four, like if I win the final four challenge, it's likely gonna be through a bit of a fluke. Either like a challenge that doesn't require skill, which I would hope is not the final four challenge. Behind Bayback, I do find you to be the most likely person, obviously, to beat Light in the challenge. Obviously, if I'm sitting there, then it is like a risky, is a weird situation, obviously. I'm gonna let you do what you want to do at this point. I mean, we've been together since the beginning. I would love to sit in that final four. You would have a lot better reason to keep me if you could go for Light tonight, because Light is the biggest threat to actually win the game. Light is the only person that I really have a really strong argument against to really take me further into this game. Like I tried so hard to come up with one for Gert, but the only thing I can come up with is that we've been together this whole time. I told him do whatever feels best, and I will respect his decision either way. So I think Gert will be voting me out tonight. My best hope is hoping that maybe Light convinced Electro to vote Bayback out. So who knows? Oh,
I just feel bad because, like, I don't know. I feel bad voting you out because we made it so far together.
I mean, you don't have to, but like again, yeah, like at the end of the day, do what in the end of the day feels right for you. Whether that's in terms of the game, in terms of on a personal level, I will respect it no matter what. I can't say that I didn't try. I pulled out the only real thing that I could without just outright lying, which at this point I know would not work for me. But yeah, I will always, I've said it so many times because I've been somewhat expecting to go home at every tribal recently. Because I wasn't sure if I was going to play my idol, if I was going to get the votes, but this has been an absolute blast to play in, and, you know, I am happy that I came back into the community for this, and again, even if I am never able to replicate this game again, that nothing will ever take away how proud I feel of how I played this season.
I mean, obviously, this choice is kind of easy, I'm sure. Isaac will tell you how scary I am or something, since I don't fucking know why.
Actually, no, Isaac's voting Bayback, but like, Isaac just made a pitch to me. He was just like, you know, if you lose that Final Four immunity to Bayback, who's most likely to win, it's like, you go home. He's being like, oh yeah, but you're gonna go out at Final Four as the biggest. I personally don't believe that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I would agree, yeah. I mean, if it has to come down to it, I'd be down to stick with you. Like, if Bayback wins, for example, I mean, we could go.
Yeah, me too.
Gert, I mean, that would suck, but
Dude, the fact that I'm in the final 5 right now, the fact that I somehow went from all these motherfucking chill and cool memes to chill in the middle minigame to fucking the E-cult. The fact that I'm in this goddamn final 5 position, I have fucking worked my ass off day in and day out. Like, I feel like my redemption arc is almost made like a full circle. It's almost 360 degrees. It's not there yet. Like, you know, ever since the fucking pre-merge where I blew up my game, that's where I kind of had to realize, like, oh shit, maybe I should actually, you know, like, take caution for my damn game and not be fucking reckless. And I did that, and I had to play the follower. I willingly needed to take that role. But now, I think I'm in the position, I'm the leader, I've got to take things by the horn. I need to go all out in this last 2 rounds, because if I make one single mistake, one single misplay, one single wrong person taken to the end, that will screw me up. And dude, I just want to have this experience be the best that it can possibly be to the end. And I've been stressing about this for, like, this is gonna sound sad, bro, I was preparing for this for so long. I was like, bro, I'm so excited for this because I wanted a genuine recorded experience, and I got that. And I couldn't ask for any more with this cast, with this group of people, and I'm so grateful for this. But I'm not gonna feel satisfied until I'm there at the FTC, knowing that I shit talked almost everyone and they're still gonna vote for me at the end.
Walk in here. You guys have fought so hard to get here. Congratulations on getting here. Now let's start with some questions. Gert.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about plans for after the vote. How good of a chance do you have at winning this game with the final 3 that you have in mind?
I think with the people left, I have a chance with the people I'm planning in my final three, because that's optimally what you do in a final three. You plan for who you're going to sit with, so you can hope you win. And I mean, I think Electro's doing the same. I think Bayback is doing the same. I think Isaac is doing the same. I even think Light's doing the same. We each have final threes that we think we can win, but in reality, two of us are very wrong, and two of us won't even get there.
Electro, making it all the way to the final 5. Obviously, at this point, at any point, nobody wants to get voted out. What would the feeling be of you getting voted out right now in this part of the game?
Right now, I mean, I would be definitely a little shocked at first and a little disappointed, but I'd also be really proud of myself, honestly. Like, I think I made it a lot farther than I thought I could originally, and, you know, whether I go out or not, I think I played my heart out this game, and it's definitely a pleasure to be here.
Bayback, now being at the final 5, surpassing 10 other players in this game. Is it tough to vote out somebody here tonight, especially with the bonds that you've made over all this time?
It's complicated. I think all of us here have a lot of respect for each other no matter what, and knowing that we have to vote one another off. 2 of us aren't going to make it to the end when we're this close. I mean, it's soul-crushing. I'm sure it depends on person to person, but really, I mean, it's just a Minecraft game, but we've been in this for so long, we're all a bit worn out, a bit exhausted, ready for it to be over, but we're not ready to really take that last step to really accept that we're not at the end until we get rid of 2 other people.
Light, heading into the final 4, automatic final 4 spot. You must feel pretty
Yeah.
good, but you must feel nervous. Nervous to the point where I don't know. Do you feel nervous? Do you feel like you're gonna need to win that final 4 immunity challenge?
I think we're all nervous at the final 4 because there's always going to be that percentage of a chance that I get voted out. Do I know if it's 100? No, because I'm not sure, because I don't know what these people are thinking. It's just a really hard decision. So I just hope that you guys can like respect the decision I make, like based on what my thoughts are on that final 4.
I mean, if I can just comment, I think no matter how any of us votes, I think we all have just respect for each other anyways. Like,
Yeah.
we've talked a lot about perception throughout this last few votes in particular. We all have our own perceptions, the jury has their own perceptions, and I hope that no matter what, you know, well, I don't hope, I know that the people in the game, no matter where each of us votes or what each of our plans are, who's involved, like, we all have respect for each other at the end of the day. Nothing but love and respect, that's what I've been saying.
And Isaac, how much game is there left to be played for the rest of you guys? Whoever goes home here, there's 4 people going back to camp. How hard do you guys still need to play to get to that final spot?
I can say from personal experience, no matter how close it feels to the end, you still have to actually make it there. If you want a shot at winning this game, you can think you have this in the bag right now. It could just be, oh, I just need to like do this, and you could fail that. And if you are fully relying on only one thing to guarantee your spot in the end, that could very much be the thing that fails you in the end. What each of these people thinks is going to get them to the end is different. So I don't think that this vote is going to be based off of alliances. I don't think it's going to be this whole everybody came together as a group. I think we have 5 individuals, each of which have a different idea of what their best path to win this game is, and everybody's vote tonight is being cast on that individual thought.
Well, as we inch closer to the end of this season, I just want to say, you Final 5, it has been a pleasure to watch you play. For one of you guys, unfortunately, be going home. Light, you're up to vote first.
You're a great and amazing human being, Isaac. Sorry for using you a lot.
Que sera, sera.
All right, you all have voted. I will now go tally the votes. All right, I have tallied the votes. If anybody has a hidden immunity idol or an advantage game they'd like to play, now would be the last time to do so. All right. I'll now read the votes. First vote, Isaac. Second vote, Bayback. That's 1 vote Isaac, 1 vote Bayback, 3 votes left. Isaac. And the next person voted off, and the next member on our jury, Isaac. Please grab me your torch. Isaac, the tribe has spoken.
Gurren, thank you for the friend request. I appreciate it. All of y'all, again, remember Final Four, it's not over yet. So, good luck to all of y'all, and good game. Well, I couldn't keep myself safe forever. If only maybe I hadn't been so confused on the final 6 votes. Maybe I could have still made it to Final Four and gotten 4th place. Y'all have to now watch one of those cruddy other 4 people win the game. Sorry that I failed y'all.
I love Isaac, but it just, for as much as we wanted to work together and really respect, like, we both were big threats and had to protect each other, I feel like he never had my best interest in mind, and whenever we did actually come to some sort of agreement, like, one of us would just go back on it, you know? We weren't really the greatest allies to each other, but that's just sort of the theme of this season, like, everyone's so nice and respectful, but they'll just do the wildest shit behind your back, and I'm just really grateful that I've been able to take some sort of semblance of control. Hopefully, even if I lose the immunity, which a lot is hinging on this immunity. Even if I lose, I hope I have some chance to slip by and make it to the final 3. For a while, I was doubting myself, where I was doubting the chance I'd get to the end, then I was doubting my chance of actually pleading my case to the jury. But no, I think you got a shot.
I don't know, dude, it's just so crazy that we're almost actually at this point, but...
I know. It's crazy. Well, I think you gotta. It's probably either gonna be you or Bayback who wins it if it's.
Probably.
So I mean, yeah, good luck.
Unless you pull another upset.
I don't know about that one. Oh my god, I can't believe it! I'm in Final Four. Ah, God, it's so exciting. This next immunity challenge is gonna be tricky. I think the plan right now is hopefully, I love our 4, but it is, only 3 can make it to the end, and unfortunately, I think me, Bay, and Gurnt, that's my final 3 I want at least. So we're hoping Light doesn't win the challenge so we can vote him out and go for it, but, either way, I'd be happy to have Light in the final with me if it didn't work out that way. As long as I get there, I get there.
It's probably like one of the toughest vote outs that I had to do, probably in the whole season. I mean, to be honest, I don't feel like I had necessary power. Like, if I wanted to flip it, I don't know if Gert wanted to flip it. I think my fate is sealed. Like, no matter what, I just need to give this my all at this Final Four. I don't know what it could be. It could be some random shit. It could, like, fuck me up. I don't know. One thing is for sure, I'm gonna try my ass off to get Bayback out. I think that Gert and Electra played underrated games. I think they played good with jury management, but I think Bayback definitely has that underdog story too, like, to an extent, but even more, since he could say that he hasn't really, like, been in the loop, but now he's kind of, like, making a comeback, which, man, this is gonna be a tough fucking 4.
Alright, Alexio, Gert, Bayback, and Light, welcome to your Final Four Immunity Challenge. Light, take it back. Alright, individual immunity is back up for grabs for the last time in this game. In this next and final immunity challenge, all 4 castaways must break carpets to reveal a flow puzzle. Then work to complete the flow puzzle while making sure a minecart doesn't stop moving in its rotations. If at any point the cart does stop in its rotations, the player must stop whatever they're doing and reset. First one to be able to complete the puzzle will win immunity. Survivors ready? Final Four immunity on the line. Go.
This better be the quietest challenge ever.
Yeah.
Light, payback, Electro. Sit. Light, you gotta go up and do your thing. Putting the ladders. Light, very quickly, push this minecart. Remember, push it to the right. It's the only way it can go. Light starting to remove his pieces now. Make sure you're monitoring your minecart at all times, making sure you do not miss it. If you see a sea lantern, that means that is a block that will not be moved. Light did a really good job with this timer. Payback, good job as well. One key thing, having to keep looking back at that timer. It's a big time waster. Everybody does it. Even Electro.
So proud of myself.
Everyone looking pretty good. Bayback looking like he's in the lead here, thinking though that he knows what he's doing. Light not too far behind. Everybody monitoring their timer pretty well. Gurnt trying to catch up. Not doing too bad from where he was. Electro still needs to get the bottom carpets out of the way.
The bottom carpets? Oh. Shoot, okay.
Fuck.
Gurnt doing pretty good this timer. Now, Gurnt actually in this race looking like he actually may be in the lead now. Light's got to reset.
Oh, shit.
Payback saves it by a second.
Fuck, I've done something wrong, haven't I? Maybe?
Light coming back with the course now. Watching your timer is crucial. There's so much time. Payback,
Son of-
I gotta reset.
Fucking split second, you're kidding me. God damn it. Oh, I was doing so well.
Light doing a good job with this timer. Gurnt just right behind. Light looks like Gurnt has now surpassed Payback. And now it's a race between Light and Gurnt.
Oh, wait, that's not it though. That can't be. What the fuck? So what have I done wrong?
Where's my other green block? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Everyone's good.
Oh, god damn it.
Oh,
Payback's
my
gotta reset
thing
again.
just
Electro's
lagged.
reset.
Dang it.
Light doing a very good job now. Gurnt right behind Light.
That it has.
Yeah, same.
Just like
Dun
that.
dun 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 dun!
Gurnt wins final
Whoa!
individual
Wow.
immunity out of
Legend.
nowhere with a huge
Wow.
comeback. Well, congratulations, Gurnt. Come on up and grab your immunity necklace.
This is my first time winning like anything this season.
Gurnt, you have an automatic shot to pitch your case to the jury. But Electro, Bayback, Light, you guys are up for vote. You guys are vulnerable. One of you guys will be the final member. The jury, everyone, back to Dan.
That was the worst potential immunity outcome, which is anything but me winning. And to lose by 15 cents, it's so freaking heartbreaking. If only if I was a little fucking faster, I would be guaranteed there. And obviously I'm gonna go for Bayback here. I'm just trying to get the pitch that he's like this massive underdog that just like was on the bottom for like all of the post-merge and then came back near the end, despite being on the outs the whole time. Honestly, I'd feel so like 10 times worse about that if it wasn't you guys with me against Bayback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. I know that you're gonna consider every like option and all.
Yes.
I still think that Bayback, like out of all of us, he is like the best underdog story, like of being like at the bottom like most of the post merge, and then he has like allies on the jury. I don't know. I'm scared by that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
I know for a fact that I need to get Electro on my side. Like, I could literally tell that Gurnt is voting me out because he sent me a friend request, so I'm assuming that's like jury management on his end. I think Electro's my best shot, and I might need to pull a little old thing, a little old technique, which is like, I'll vote for you if you give me fire making, and that's gonna be my plea right now. So I'm just gonna go in a tribal, hope for the freaking best, because if I get fire, I'm trying so hard in that. I'm still irked out by the immunity win, but dude, I work so hard for this, but I can't. The fight is never over. The fight will not be over until it's over, and I'm willing to put myself on the line and during tribal if I need to. I'll freaking hunt my ass off. Dude, I'll be honest here, like, me and Electro, I think we've played similar, like, games, where I think Bayback can differentiate himself more.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. Like, it sucks to have to do it to him, or to, like, have to vote someone out this late in, but, like, I just, or, well, at least I think, oh, no, I know that I can't beat him at the end.
Oh my god. This was honestly the first time I was, like, worried throughout the whole season I could be going home, because this whole time I haven't received a single vote. This whole season I haven't had a single vote. I've been good with everyone while still controlling the game, and now I have the final power to take out the last threat remaining to me. And I'm sorry, Light, I really do appreciate you, and I'm glad we had this time together, but I came here to win, and that is the result in cutting you. And I'm here, and I think I might have a chance at winning this game. Let's go.
I don't really know, because I don't think I should bullshit this. Is that I think you probably have like the most different game out of all of us. Like, the three of us have pretty similar games. Yeah, I think Electro and Gurnt, like, they've played like kind of like under the radar games and they got more flashy near the end. And I think you have like the status of like being the underdog and then kind of still coming back at the end. I don't know. It's.
I feel like we all made a comeback at the end.
Yeah.
Like, we were all kind of in an awkward position at the start, but then really picked it up.
I think we all have underdog stories to get here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, it's the final challenge is over and it's the final vote. I can't believe I made it this far, and I think I've made really good relations fortunately, with the winner of that challenge. I think me, Gert, and hopefully Bayback are going to be in the final 3. I mean, all props and love to Light. He was great to play with. But if everything goes the way I'm seeing it, then Light is unfortunately has to go right before the end, which sucks because yeah, I wish we could have a final 4, but it's just not going to happen that way. But either way, I'm hopefully if everything works out, I'm in the final 3 and I can pitch my case to the jury. I couldn't be more happy. So, oh man, here we go. Last time.
Right. Light, Bayback, Burnt, Electro, congratulations. You guys have made it so far into this game. Farther than anyone that has tried very hard to get in your spot. But unfortunately, all 4 of you cannot make it to the final 3, and one of you will be the last member of the jury. Let's get to the questions. Gurnt, after a whole season of messing up on challenges, almost not even coming close to first place, you have won the most important immunity challenge in this game. How does that feel?
Honestly, I think it makes sense because I was always overlooked this whole time. I was never going to ever have a chance at winning and stuff. But in the final stretch, I won the final immunity challenge. And if I win the final immunity challenge, I think I can win this game.
Coming this far into the game, Bayback, how do you feel that you could be one step away from either going to the final 3 or being voted out that close to the final 3?
But no, I mean, it's really the same as any other vote. There's a lot more on the line because obviously next is final 3. This is the home run, home stretch. It was so close and we'd all love to make it, but I think it's pretty clear that either Light or I won't make it there, and whatever decision is, I respect it, but I hope that my relationships that I've built stay true, and I wish nothing but the best of luck to Light, because we had a good conversation. We were pretty much open that it's pretty much me and him tonight, and I hope it's him, as he hopes it's me, but that's not up to us, really.
Electro.
Hey.
Coming into this game, I bet you never would have guessed that you would have had the most votes casted against you coming into the end of this game.
Absolutely.
Almost going home on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
Now sitting here in the final 4, could have gone home 3 or 4 times, but here you are sitting in that seat, ready for the final tribal council, ready for the FTC speech. How you feeling?
It feels really good. I mean, obviously, there's still a little doubt in my mind, but I think I trust the relationships that I made. And it sucks because us 4 have such a strong bond, and I think this is going to be the hardest vote for me yet, not just because it's super hard, super complicated, just emotionally. I feel like us 4 have been through so much, and to make a decision like that really hurts. But I think, honestly, everybody here has an equal shot at winning, and it's been an absolute pleasure to play with these 4, and no hard feelings to anybody here.
Light.
Yeah.
Hearing what Bayback said, your fate is not in your hands tonight. You look to your right and you see a man named Electro and a man named Gurnt, and they hold you or Bayback's fate in this game. Now my question to you is, coming this far into this game, how do you feel sitting in that seat right now?
Oh, dude, it's so bittersweet. Getting this far, it's been such a great experience, the whole way through. Honestly, this is probably one of my favorite, survivors, ever, period. But, dude, just becoming short on that immunity win, it did really hurt me a little bit. Sitting in the seat right now, it's very bittersweet because I got my damn I forgot what our alliance name was called. It was like the Clueless Alliance. Yeah, yeah, we're the Clueless Alliance.
Yeah.
We're the Clueless Boys, and now they got my fate in their hands, and I think that they know the right decision, and well, I do too. I know the right decision for them. I hope that they know the right decision for them.
And I mean, quick kind of point. If we're talking perception, can we flash back to Kit as he walked out? That was a fun little
that's
talk
Kit,
about
though.
jury perception. Yeah, it's still a jury member.
Yeah, it still is, but I mean, clearly I didn't leave off like a good impact on like a lot of people since I clearly backstabbed a lot of people. Like I backstabbed PvP, I backstabbed Isaac.
Damn, look at all these moves he made.
This is time that you guys dedicated. This is 12 to 13 hours you four dedicated to play motherfucking Minecraft Survivor.
Try 17 hours.
Yeah, it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, it's been more than 17.
Well, there you go. This shit gets emotional once you're up for 17 motherfucking hours. But let's get to the vote, because like I love to say, Bayback, you want to say it?
Why did he
Something
get to say
about
it?
voting. I don't remember the quote.
Oh yeah, it was like your vote controls your fate or something.
No, the votes will tell all.
Let the vote
Let the
speak
vote
for
speak for
itself.
itself. Okay. It's something like vote talking. Chill can say it, yeah.
Like I like to say, let the votes speak for themselves.
Let the vote speak
Electro.
for itself. I did it.
You're up first.
All right. Oh man, this sucks, but it will secure my spot to the final three. Fortunately, God, like Light. Props to you. You've played an amazing game. I wish I could have brought you to the end with me, but it just happened. It's 3 instead of 4. I wish you the best, and GG, my friend.
If it is my time to go, it's my time to go. It's been a complete honor, but I hope that I get repaid for the effort that I've put into keeping this alliance alive.
This could potentially be the end of me here. This very much could be, and it sucks because this experience has been great, but you're the only shot I got. This is the only argument I could have made. And in the words of Happy, I'm gonna shower like I'm about to be clean, like this vote's about to be clean.
Alrighty. Everyone has casted their votes. Oh, now go tally them. Alright. Again, congratulations on everybody for making it here. But I will now read the votes because no advantages can be played at this time. Let's get to it. First vote. Light. Second vote. Bayback. 1 vote Light, 1 vote Bayback. 2 votes left. Light. 2 votes Light, 1 vote Bayback, 1 vote left. And the next person voted off of Kavanah's Minecraft Survivor Season 8 Fantasy Island. Light. Please grab me your torch.
Damn. Oh.
Oh my god, thank you
Very
guys.
Good game, Light.
Alright.
Good game, Light. It was a pleasure.
Light. The tribe has spoken.
You know what? I gotta give my shout outs. Alright, I gotta shout out to my boy Happy for spoiling that he chose me as a winner pick. Sorry, I gotta throw you under the bus there. He spoiled that to me, and I was the only person that didn't drop out, so you're welcome. Anyways, you know what? I love you guys. Best of luck. Bye while I go, I don't know, cuss someone out about being 4th place. Okay, bye.
Electro. Gurnt. Bayback. You guys have made it this far into the game where everybody else has wanted to make it. You've surpassed 12 people in this game to get to where you are today. Feel proud. Feel happy. Because all of you 3 deserve it. Everyone, head on back to camp.
All I can say is that was one of the best experiences I've had just playing a simple game of Minecraft, and I truly didn't know how many great people there were on here, but I feel like this whole experience has made me realize that there are great people out there, and I just want to thank every single person that helped cheer me get here. I gotta thank my cuz, my man Happy. I gotta thank all my supporters, if you even exist out there. But to be honest, I'm very content with the way that I played.
Holy fuck! I did it. I tried to censor myself, but I just couldn't get myself to. I didn't think I'd actually make it here.
Wow, I'm at a loss for words right now. I can't believe I'm in the final 3, and I couldn't have 2 better people with me to do it.
I am so grateful to be here. That last immunity was clutch, and now I'm getting a chance to win this game. I'm with the 2 people I think I have the best chance with.
Win or lose, I'm extremely proud of myself. When it's the tribes, found myself an idol, got myself into a bit of a power position. Don't want to be full of myself, but that's what I consider it. A bit of a power position in the leaders tribe.
I'm so glad that I've been able to go as far as I have and make the connections I have, and even after this game, now I'll have some friends I made along the way. So
I started off this game on a paradise, never going to travel, and then my game fell apart, losing my number 1 to Rocks.
I kicked some royal ass this season. I mean, I think I've got some pretty stiff competition with Gurns and Electro. Absolutely amazing plays, and we do share a lot of similarities, only they were a bit more in the loop, and I cannot wait to hear what they're going to say, to hear what the jury thinks, and to hopefully prove why I deserve to win.
Couldn't be more excited, and I'm ready to bust down at this final tribal council and win this game. Let's get it. Underdogs on top. Leader's gonna lead.
I think I win by showing to the jury that I was the one playing the middle, and my journey from smooth riding to everything going to shit to my redemption story and making it to the end and proving that I deserve to be the winner of this whole Survivor.
All right, let's welcome in all members of the jury. Chill, Echo, Lance, PvP, Kit, Isaac, and voted off the last tribal council, Light. Final 3, everyone. Welcome, Electro, Gurnt, Bayback. Congratulations on making it this far into the game. You guys have played your heart out, and you guys have done whatever it takes to get in that spot here today. Now, let me explain what's going to go down. You 3 will open up with a speech explaining how you played this game. Then, we'll answer some questions from each of the jurors. Then it's time to vote. First up, we'll have Bayback.
G'day, my mates on the jury. I am very proud of my game, and it's been an incredible honor to be playing alongside Electro and Gurnt here and alongside all of you guys. No matter what happens tonight, I'm very proud of the game I played. I believe I had a perfect balance of adaptability, my strategic, my social, and my physical games. Found a public idol. I had a great relationship with PvP that I could rely on, so having the idol be public wasn't too much of a concern for me. I just had to really use the pre-merge stage to build strong relationships I could rely on walking into merge, and that was my focus in merge, was to keep my options open with everyone except for the one person I had a negative relationship with, and that was Chill, throwing out my name. Chill goes home. I'd been throwing out his name, but obviously it was Light giving the immunity that sort of put the nail in the coffin, so I'm not going to take credit for that. My next stage of the game was really gathering information, who was with who was trying to pull moves on who, and seeing that I was in a situation where I had Echo, Electro, I had Gurnt, I had PvP, who also had Isaac, Echo also had Lance, all these relationships everywhere, that no matter what happened, I could adapt to it. And now in the end game, Final 7, I'd already been thrown out as a threat, I hadn't been voted against yet because I'd already won immunity, now win my second immunity, I'm an even bigger potential target, and Isaac and PvP who are starting to rise the ranks as the highest threats in the game, they know that I have an idol. So knowing this, I could go to them and be one of the big dogs. The three of us, we're the ones who are going to be looked at, so we got to stick together. And even though I was admittedly out of the loop at Final 7, I was left out of all the plans. Once again, that was okay. I had the leverage of my idol, I had the leverage of my physical game and my social game. And all those would come to a head at the Final 6. First of all, PvP was gone. I need someone to fill the role that PvP was in. Electro was the one person I felt like I could truly rely on. And Kit, there was a lot of uncertainty with our relationship. So I saw my ideal Final 3 at that point as being Electro and Gert. Not just people I felt like I could potentially beat, but also people who I could trust to take me to the end. I had to put a new shield ahead of me instead of PvP, and that was of course Light. So that was one side of things. And I knew that if I could make Light a big target, and Isaac make sure he gets rid of his idol, I have these two shields ahead of me, and I have Electro and Gert, who are my ideal Final 3, and I can control my path to the end. I've been spending all this time adapting to the chaos. Now I can be a part of it and make other people adapt to me and take advantage of this chaos and the information I've gathered to make a great, informed, strategic decision with the advantage that I've had with my social and physical games. And how I did this was, of course, playing the idol on Electro and ensuring that Kit went home. And now, I'm getting exactly what I need out of the conversation without having to prompt them, because my strategic decision is forcing them to adapt to my gameplay. And that's no coincidence again, because Light had won 2 immunities, and I know that Light winning those immunities was key in making him such a big threat. But he was public enemy number 1, and we couldn't get him out at Final 5 like we wanted to. When I won 2 immunities, I didn't get a vote against me. I didn't receive a scratch. I could play my idol on someone else and make full advantage of that. Rest of the game was history. 2 unanimous votes, and I'm sitting in the end with my ideal Final 3. But it comes down to whether you think I've earned your votes or not, and I'll leave that to the questions. So,
When I started this game, I didn't expect to be on a tribe that went through a bunch of immunity streaks. Like, I didn't even go to Tribal Council until a third into the game. Once as I went to Tribal Council, I lost my number 1 to Rocks, and I had almost nearly no way to save my number 2. So I didn't have a way to start off my game well, and then when I still got to play at first, it was horrendous. And I will admit, that was awful. Another group I made an alliance with was Electrobomb and Light. And then another alliance I made with was Bayback and Kit. I had 3 groups of 3, while debatably I know some of them were flowed sooner than others. I insulated myself well, and by working along with Isaac for his move, I changed the game so I could run the end game. When it came to the Final 7, with what me, Electrobomb, and Light called, I named us the Clueless Alliance because we didn't know why Echo went home. I knew, but they didn't. But that was okay, because they wanted to work with me now. And I suggested we go after Isaac in PvP, because they were 2 big threats, and they needed to go. And then when I was with Isaac in PvP, we all decided that Light was a big threat. Because Light was a big threat. I had 3 big threats right there, and no matter like who won immunity, I had myself set up in a way that I could bounce between these 3 different groups and get out the people that I viewed as threats. Because I knew no one thought I had any chance at winning. I knew that Electrobomb and Light were targeting PvP, and that PvP and Isaac were targeting Electrobomb. Light won immunity, so Electrobomb was number 2. And so I was debating which one to go with, because both of these ways for me to go, but I decided, hey, I should just go out with PvP or Isaac. But in order for Electrobomb and Light to get a number 3, they had to get something from Bayback or Kit. So I knew the votes were going to be 3 on PvP, 2 on Electrobomb, and 1 on Bayback. And I was like, hey, I know this is a 3-2-1, and I'm the last vote. I could throw a vote on Electrobomb, so I still keep Isaac's trust in the game, and then when it goes to a tie, I can vote out PvP because it's a bigger threat. That was also part of my strategy, because throughout the post-merge, Light and Electrobomb were seen as a tight duo, but I was definitely working with the 2 of them. But when I was with other people, I would always prop up Electrobomb being with Light. So whenever Light won immunity and people wanted to weaken Light, they would always target Electrobomb, even though I was still working with them and still being in on all the plans. So it was like safe while I was propping up Electrobomb to take the blame. So then PvP goes out after I tie the vote, and Isaac still trusts me.
Then when it gets to the final 6, I was making it so it was going to be a 3-2-1 vote between Electrobomb, Isaac, and Kit. Bayback over here, my man, decided to be just like very confusing in talks, and I was like, this man, I'm not sure what he's going to do. And so I'm like, this 3-2-1 plan, I don't think it's going to work out because something Bayback's going to do. So I think Isaac vividly remembers this. But I've messaged Isaac something, which made Isaac play his idol. I needed Isaac and Light to be in the final 5 with me because I didn't want to have any worries of being targeted. I needed either Electrobomb or Kit to go home. So I had Isaac play his idol. Bayback decided to play his idol and Electrobomb. So then Kit went home, which I questioned if that was the right move for Bayback because Kit was taking him to the end regardless. And then so I'm in the final 5 and I'm like, hey, this was what I was planning for. So at the final 5, I'm like, I have Isaac and Light. Both are big targets. And I was already talking with Electrobomb and Bayback and getting these 2 targets out because I was already planning this for a while. I was sad to let Isaac go because I'm gonna be honest, I was working with Isaac the closest throughout the whole merge, but I knew for any chance for me to win, I had to cut Isaac. And then it got to the final 4 immunity where me, the person that's incapable of doing shulker box jumps in a horrendous set challenges, somehow pulls out a win and guarantees that Light is the one to go home that round. I was the one that made sure all of these targets got out. I helped Isaac pull his move to get out Echo. I was the one that made alliances and propped up PvP as a threat, which made him go home. While I didn't intentionally make Kit go home, I made Isaac play his idol, which allowed me to get him out at the final 5, while also keeping a threat so I didn't have to worry about getting votes. And I was the one to take down Light at the final 4. And I got out all of the threats I wanted to, got to an ideal final 3 with me, while also getting to the final 3 with people I think I played better aspects of their own game. And thank you, jury, for being here today. And if you have any questions, I'll be completely honest with you. And I wish you the best of luck in making your decision.
All right. Good afternoon, fellow gamers. Glad to see you all here. I wanted to start out with a short summary of how my game developed from day 1 up until now, and I'll try my best not to ramble for too long. So, starting on the leader tribe, I definitely had some big shoes to fill. I knew coming into this game that my challenge ability is subpar, you could call it, so relying on my social game was definitely a necessity. I made strong bonds with PvP and Bayback, which ultimately caused me to remain safe up until the first tribe swap, having the majority on my side as well as the shared idol, thanks to Bayback. Come tribe swap, our tribe had 1 assassin, which was Echoes, 2 leaders, Bayback and I, and 3 followers, and Gurnt, Chill, and Skylar. This definitely put me in a sticky situation since I wanted to remain loyal to Bayback, especially with the idol in our pockets. Echo and I had a similar understanding that the followers may try and pick us off one by one if we didn't go to Rocks, so we took that chance and Bayback went to Rocks for me as well. Thankfully, luck was on our side and Skylar was rocked out. At Merge, I immediately went into chats with other tribes to try and form bonds as well as to try and gather information. This is where I learned that Isaac had an idol, yet I was able to keep Bayback's idol a secret. Obviously, later in the game, this info did come out, but not through me. At the first Merge Tribal, I was able to get Chillin' out, which was huge for me since he had targeted me for now the 2nd Tribal in a row. After this, I was able to get close to Gurnt, who had been Chillin's #1 up until that point in my eyes, and got him out of a sticky situation of being on the bottom, since I knew having another loyal teammate on my side, which he was loyal to Chillin up until that point, would be super beneficial for my game. Echo's vote out was tricky for me, since that was the only tribal the whole game that I had no idea what went down, still don't really know, to be honest, in all honesty, and I was not in the majority. I was one of the 2 people that voted Isaac to flush the idol, since I thought this was a great idea coming from Echo, and would help repay him for him going for Rocks for me earlier. After being distraught from this tribal, I realized that I wanted to take more control of my own game and really embody that leader title I was given. I wanted to get Isaac out. This is where I made a pact with Gurnt and Light, but realized we needed another since Bayback seemed to be potentially leaning towards the other side, so I went to talk to Kit Rip, even though he wasn't in a great mental state at the moment, which I think he appreciated. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. He advised me that Isaac was going to play his idol and that I should convince the others to vote PvP, which I did. It ended up being a 3-3-1 with Bayback on the outs, and thankfully after the revote, Bayback did end up staying with me. After that, I knew it was a little too convenient that Isaac didn't play as idol, since the point of voting PvP was to flush it. So I took charge in splitting the votes, and this was at Final 6 2-2-2 between Kit, Isaac, and myself. I believe those two were voting for me, which they did. Although there was some mistrust between Bayback and Grintlight initially, I knew that I could pull them together, and it went exactly as I planned. Bayback even used his idol on me, even though it wasn't needed, but I very much appreciated it either way. From this point forward, it was a 4v1 in my eyes against Isaac, and then I had to make the difficult decision of voting out Light in the final 4, because Light was ultimately, in the end, a big threat. And thankfully, Gurnt was on the same page. With that said, I do want to leave some interpretations up to questions, and I will be happy to answer them.
Congratulations on the final 3 for making it this far into the game, but now your fate lies in the hands of the 7 jury members you see sitting up on those seats. First up to ask questions is Echo.
So, first of all, congrats you 3 to getting to the end. It's a good thing to do in Survivor. Again, I was an early jury member, so I didn't get to see a lot of the end points of the game and stuff like that. So if you kind of touch on that for me, I would appreciate that in your answering with these questions. But I'm going to ask one at a time, I guess. So Grant, starting with you, we didn't really talk too much. I know we swapped on a tribe together. We tried working together, but it didn't really work out, I guess. So I didn't really see too much of your game, so I kind of want to get a better understanding for it. So what are some moves that you can define? What are some moves that can define your game?
Oh, I think the first big move was honestly working to take you out. And I think you and me both have this mutual understanding is we tried to work together, but we both knew it wasn't really working out. If I wanted to make it to the end and have somewhat of a chance, that you weren't going to be able to be there. So I made the initiative to go to Isaac, and me and him, it was his move, but I was the only other person with him to take you out. And by taking him out, I went from having 0 connections to being aligned with every single person remaining in the game. I was the one that allowed PvP to get out. I allowed for Isaac to go at 5, and I won final immunity for Light to go at final 4. So while I didn't get to play the most game in the world, because I didn't even go to tribal council until I went with you. And my first 2 tribal councils, I lost a Rock, my closest ally, and I had nothing I could do to save Chill. I turned my game around, and I played the rest of the game hard and controlled the votes from them.
All right, thank you. That is respectful. Losing to Rocks and losing to a close ally, and not going to tribal for a long time in the merge is a hard thing. And turning around your game and making here is something to be proud for. So just to clarify, you were the other vote for me at that tribal that I went home.
Yeah, no, you were, because I was. Nobody knew that because the only person that knew was Isaac. Because I purposely told people I voted for different people because it created chaos, and that chaos allowed me to make alliances.
Very, very solid. Did not think you were the one to vote me. Very, very well played. I guess going to the other 2, Bayback and Electro, we kind of had a trio going into this, going into the merge, and I was really excited for it. We were all working really well together, and unfortunately, I got nipped in the butt. Who knows if this would have been the final 3? I don't know if that's what you guys were planning, but I was kind of hoping for that. For me, at least, I viewed you guys as that really big duo. So I want you guys to each tell me why you guys were the primary person in that duo, and why the other person was following lead, I guess you'd say. Whoever wants to go first can.
I wouldn't say either of us took the other's lead per se, but I will say I took one of the first risks in terms of keeping us together. I had the biggest influence over the decisions in the pre-merge that allowed Electro to sit with us in the merge, especially since a lot of my merge gameplay, especially amongst the chaos of middle of the merge before you could reach the end game, was I have a lot of little relationships I can rely on. So by focusing in on building this relationship with Electro, not just with conversation, but with action of going to rocks for him and voting for JJ instead of Electro, all these little things, it allowed me to have that person who I could rely on for reliable information amongst a sea of other people who I had these little connections with. So I took those first steps into having the action that would pay off in the future when it gave Electro a reason to, in essence, pay me back for it. There was a genuine relationship behind that, but in terms of gameplay, that's really what it was. I knew that by acting in saving him in certain ways, he would act to save me further in the game when it was more important to me.
Okay, thank you. Electro?
Cool. Yeah, I think in the beginning of the game, for sure, I agree with Bayback. I mean, I think we both had a serious equal part in working together, especially in the pre-merge tribe. Having that shared idol was a good responsibility that we could all kind of count on each other on, especially with 3 kind of alliance between me, Bayback, and PvP going forward, kind of until merge, and him and you going to rocks for myself, to make sure we didn't get picked off one by one. I wouldn't say I essentially directed those moves, but it definitely helped me form stronger bonds with both of you going forward. During your vote, I went along with your plan. I thought it was a good plan to vote Isaac, so I believe I was one of the 2 people to vote for Isaac. I still that was a little bit of a downfall because I still don't really know what happened at that tribal, but I think the part you really didn't get to see was after that tribal. I was a little distraught. I was like, wow, this is the one time things aren't really going in my favor, and the decision basically to take control of my own game, and that included not working with Bayback or not including him in that final 7 vote to take out PvP. I was working with Gert and Light, and they were advising me, you shouldn't tell Bayback, and I was like, yeah, I agree. And even though it ended up being a 3-3-1, he still went with me in the end, which I think shows how strong our bond really was. And especially at the final 6, I think I definitely took charge in doing that 2-2-2 vote, although it is kind of contested. I was basically the one saying, hey, Kit and Isaac are going to vote for me. It was a little too convenient that at the final 7, Isaac didn't play that idol because I was talking to Kit. I thought Kit was in on our plans. The whole point of voting PvP out was to flush that idol, and so I really took charge saying hey, let's 2-2-2 split this vote between Kit, Isaac, and I think those 2 are going to vote for myself because I knew I couldn't really trust Kit going forward anymore, just because that was a little too coincidental for me. And I think I really took charge in bringing that final 4 kind of core alliance between me, Bayback, Gert, and Light.
Again, great answers, guys. It's a very tough decision for me. You guys all played great games. You guys did an amazing job to get here, and I'm going to be listening very closely to your end speeches. So, really knock it out of the park. Great season, guys, and thank you for playing with me.
Thank you so much, Echo. Up next, PvP.
Hey, fuckers.
Hello.
First of all, I'm gonna be clear here. Originally going into this was split between all 3 of you, but sadly, during your guys' speech, one of you fell out of contention in my head, and I'm gonna address that person first, so if they want to get the chance to prove me wrong, no, fuck you, I'm actually still in contention, PP, you just are being dumb right now. Gert. So here's my thing. I actually was going into this kind of considering voting for you, but you kind of shot yourself, and let me explain how at least in my eyes, I don't know how the jury perceives it, how I kind of see this. You claim that, you went after all these people, which can't really be proven or disproven, and I do believe you when you said you had an alliance with everybody. I don't think that's a lie. I'm not saying that is. My actual problem lies in the fact that, to put it quite simply, it's a weak formula to try and get votes for the end. I mean, you watch the show, often people who win at the end are social players or players who tried to go out there and make moves, and although you might have been making moves, it's shadowed because you often try to stay in the back. It's a good way to get to the finale. It's not a good way to get jury perception, because I'm not seeing a ton of people over here screaming for your name. Could be wrong, but that's at least how I see it. So that's because honestly, going into this, I thought you worked with me on that vote, and because at least it seems like you did vote for me on the first round. I thought you simply flipped because it was the smart move to flip in the re-vote. But now I'm seeing that you claim that it was your move. Again, I don't know if it fully is or wasn't, but the thing is that sucks about that is that you need to also focus as much as it's important to make sure you actually build those social bonds. You may have talked to everybody, but did you build enough respect with those members to actually say, hey, I like your game, let me vote for you? I don't think you earned enough of that personally. If you think I'm wrong, please prove me wrong right now.
See, the thing is with you, PvP, I'm with me and you, is we didn't talk until right before your vote. So while you got time to talk to Bayback and Electro, we haven't gotten to talk yet. So that's honestly one of the reasons why I think socially we weren't the best off. And while I wanted to get to know you better for my game, I thought you going would be the best. And you saying I was playing from the shadows, I just want to comment if I was playing from the shadows, so was Electro Bomb and Payback. They both
Yeah.
were. It wasn't just a me thing. And while both of them today, Payback said they didn't know what was going on at 9, they didn't know what was going on at 7, same with Electro. I was the one in the know. And while they openly discussed how the final 6 was their big move and how they got themselves to the end, for me, that goes all the way back to the final 9, getting out Echo. So I took control of my game earlier than they did, and I had more control through the end game than they did. And I was the one that was responsible for getting out people before they did. And while I admit we didn't have the best relationship, just because we didn't talk, like, I'm not blaming either of us. I think we both know we didn't talk. Most of the people that I talked to pre-merge were people that went out or other people on the jury. So I'm just saying, just between me and you, I wish we got to talk more, but that's why I don't.
I have one more question for you then, and you're not gonna like it.
Okay.
You're not gonna like it. I'm gonna let you know right now. Yeah. Electro Bomb and Bayback both had massive targets, at least at different points in the game. Did you ever have a target on your back? And don't say pre-merge, that doesn't fucking count. We all know pre-merge doesn't fucking count. From merge onwards, did you ever have a moment where you thought, holy shit, it could be me tonight?
Honestly, I'm gonna say no, because I was working with everyone, and let's be honest, people weren't really focusing on me, like, for the most part. But the reason why Electro Bomb had this big target when I was talking to people is because Electro Bomb's proximity to light. Electro Bomb was this big threat because of his relationships with other people. Electro Bomb wasn't a big threat because of what they were doing in the game. And Bayback was a threat because of their physical game. People were worried about Bayback winning immunities, not necessarily because of his other aspects of his game. Also, when Electro Bomb was being this big threat, I was intentionally propping Electro Bomb up because people were worried about Light becoming this big threat and Electro Bomb as his duo. So I was like, hey, let me just prop Electro Bomb up as the duo so Electro Bomb takes all the heat while I'm still working with Light and Electro Bomb. So I still get the benefits of working with Light and Electro Bomb, but Electro Bomb's taking all the heat. So I intentionally made Electro Bomb this big threat, and why Electro Bomb got votes at Final 7, Final 6. I was intentionally making him this bigger threat, so I wouldn't get any votes. And that's why I didn't get any votes, because I was making him the bigger threat.
Good luck, but I do personally, I guess it's just me, I haven't ever liked that gameplay style, personally. I guess it's very different. If these 6 over here appear to think that that gameplay style works, then hey, congratulations, you won the season, right? But personally to me, you will not be receiving my vote. That did not change my opinion. I'm sorry. Bayback, it's definitely between you two. I think there's been some weird perceptions going on, and I want to make this clear. Being someone who was around these two at several different points in the game, if you think one was controlling the other, you're wrong. They had moments where they traded off with each other. I witnessed it several times. Going back from the very beginning, I guess my main question I want to throw at you is that, or at least this, the way I see your game is, well, I think Gert played a little bit too much in the shadows. I think the main problem I have with you is, to put it quite simply, I have a hard time believing everything you said in your speech. I don't think you're lying about anything, but I think maybe you were trying to play things up a little bit, which I get you're supposed to do in FTC, but like, I don't know. At least to me, I felt like what you were doing. Like, for example, you're claiming, like, oh, yeah, like, I was playing this massive, grand game, but, like, or at least it felt like you're kind of, like, going at that point with the long speech, and I just didn't see that. Like, it felt like you were a bit out of the loop at different points, at least being around you a little bit. I don't think you were always out of the loop. I think there were some votes you were freaking running the loop, but would you agree to say that it would be a incorrect assumption to assume that you were always in on things, or would it be correct to say that you were out of the loop at certain points, even during the merge? I guess it's my question.
Absolutely, I was out of the loop. Yeah, I absolutely was out of the loop, and I know my speech was long and winded because I wanted to make the points of the things that I was doing, even though I was out of the loop. I was able to take advantage of other aspects of my game. I wasn't always strategically in it. The final 7, even in my opening speech, I said nothing I can say. I was completely left out of the final 7. And credit to the appropriate people for that. What I was focusing on in my speech were the little subtle social and physical cues that I was able to pick up on to make up for my lack of strategic game. Because we all had moments where we were out of the loop in certain votes here and there, but I don't know if they had the same amount of actually doing things in that time. So even though I was out of the loop in the final 7, I was still working on how people perceived me and how people perceived other players like Light. whether those perceptions were there or not, I had to make sure I reinforced them and made sure that even if they were already out there, I was making sure from my end that they were out there. I was trying to emphasize myself as a bigger threat, which do you agree that I was doing that, or?
I would agree to a point, at least. To a point. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just those sort of points is what I was trying to emphasize in my speech, and pointing those things out and then proving that I'm not just BSing by showing that the big threats at the end of the game were voting against me, and the people who were perceived as low tier threats were walking out the door calling me a goat. My speech wasn't meant to make it seem like I was in absolute control the whole time, but I was taking advantage of my time and adapting to the certain aspects of my game that were necessary as time went on.
I guess my final question I'll throw at you before moving on to Electro is just, who was, if you had to name off one player, what player genuinely scared you a little bit? Like when you came into this season, could have been early on that you were scared of this player, or in the middle of merge or near the end. What player did you go, oh my god, this person could and probably will beat me,
Based on my first conversations with each person, I trusted you the most, but it scared me the most how honest you were of we're gonna work together, we're gonna become big threats, and we're gonna fight it out. You were so brutally honest with that, and I completely believed every word, I agreed with every word, and I appreciated the honesty, but it did scare me. So out of everyone, I would say I was scared of the potential for you the most, and I'd say that was kind of proven when we got to the merge. And
dude, everyone turned on me. You didn't have a lot to worry about there.
Well, obviously it didn't end up being that way, but if you're asking how I was perceiving things early on, if things continued down the path they were very early in the game, it was going to be eat or be eaten, and you had more information on me than I had on you, being the public idol that we were passing back and forth during challenges.
Thank you, Bayback. Those were good answers. Mostly good answers, so yeah. Electro, I want to be clear to you. Going into this, when I first got voted off, I thought, man, I'm not voting Electro. And then I kind of thought about it for a week or two. I'm like, man, I was being really hard on Electro because the more I thought about it, I realized you had a pretty solid game, at least contending wise with Bayback. Sure, you didn't have an idol or really a physical game, or let's just be real, you really depended on your social and strategic. Let's not fuck around here.
100%.
But for what you were given for being a kind of weaker player in this group, you surprisingly, I think, made the most utility of what you were given. I guess my main thing I want to throw at you, though, is however, you, similar to Gurnt, had a bit of a perception laid on your back, and, I won't lie, I was someone who believed that if, we had went to a third pre-merge vote, it wasn't me who was going to get saved, which now I'm starting to believe I might have been wrong, but I believed you were going to get saved. It would have been the smart move to throw me out early, but that's the thing, though, is that at the end of the day, my thing is I want you, because at least in recordeds I've played in the past, I've had perceptions put on me that weren't fair, that the jury believes this is how it looks, this is how it is. I'm going to give you the chance that no one gave me in a few seasons ago. I want you to use this as your chance to prove, if people think you are Bayback's GOAT, or at least a weaker player compared to Bayback or even Gurnt, please prove them wrong right now. Show your, try and show specifically how you think you had a more dominating game.
I got votes every single tribal council, basically, up until Final 5, and, each time I was still safe. There's a reason why I'm here, is because I had everybody on my side, and I think the thing with that is because I got so many votes, I was perceived as a threat, and, I was kind of using that to my advantage, to be honest, saying, I can still win this game even though I'm getting votes every single tribal council, and even though I can't win a challenge or find an idol for the life of me, I have to use my social ability, especially I couldn't find an idol either, and the one idol I knew about, Bayback, I was talking back and forth with him, how do we use this, or how can we use this effectively? There was even one point in the game where I think it was when we were going to Rocks in the pre-merge that, Bayback was messaging me, he's like, I should have listened to you, I should have used the idol on you, and I was like, well, that's okay, I appreciate it, you're still going to Rocks for me, and it ended up working in my favor. I just think I made the best of what I could, even as you kind of mentioned before, coming as an underdog onto the season, and the only thing I could really use is my social ability. I mean, of course, I tried to win all those challenges and everything, but I really think my social game was just on a higher tier.
And I, for the most part, would agree with you. But I guess my only thing I have to kind of throw is I do hope that you use these next few questions very carefully for these next few jury members, because you got an uphill battle compared to some people that I've seen before in seasons. So best of luck. Best of luck to you. Best of luck to you, Bayback. And best of luck to you, Gurnt. And as I say, I'm the only leader that got voted out because you're all fucking scared of me. Fuck you, bitches.
All right. Next up, Isaac.
First of all, congratulations to all three of you for making it here. I have to say, this has been probably one of the strongest final tribal councils I've attended. So props to all three of you. You are all fighting really hard. I have the same question for all of you. Choosing the winner of this season is choosing a representative. And I want to ask each of you, what is the theme of your game? And how does that represent the season as a whole? And why should you win for that reason?
I'm not a huge Minecraft player. I don't think I could win challenges or anything. So I kind of came in as an underdog, and going on the leader tribe definitely, put some kind of responsibility. Not responsibility, I guess, but it definitely put some sort of target on my back and some sort of role I had to fill. And I think I'm kind of unique, hopefully, as compared to other people, because my gameplay, in the game of Survivor, it's pretty common to backstab and do whatever you can to win. I just don't really like to play that way. I like to make the strongest bonds I can and really empower people on my team, not only myself but other people on my team, to kind of make those moves. And if you think in real life, I guess, for example, if you have a boss, would you rather have one that empowers you and gives your ideas a consideration, or would you rather have a boss that takes credit for all your moves? And I think that's kind of the way I played this game, is that I was not only empowering myself but empowering my teammates, and still making big waves in the best I could throughout this game, if that answers your question.
I think my game is honestly the embodiment of this post-merge. I think all of us was just what happened at the Echo vote, what happened at the PvP vote, what happened at the Kit vote. While the two people next to me were left out or just confused on those votes, I was the one creating the chaos. And while some people may not respect that, and I respect that you don't, this was how I was taking charge of my game. I created this chaos to put me further, and it put me in a position to get to the end. And honestly, I'm sad you're not here with me, but I know you'd win in the landslide, Isaac.
As I
but
should.
Yeah, I just think my gameplay is very just chaotic, and I think this whole post-merge was really chaotic.
The theme of my game was adaptability in unique ways. This is Fantasy Island, and I think I played a pretty fantastical game in certain ways. Did I always control things? No. Did I always have to control things? No. I controlled when I needed to, and I stepped back and let other parts of my game, like my physical and social game, step up when I needed to. But most of all, there was always an air of I said it a lot, especially in the end game, especially to you and Light in those last couple of crucial rounds. Nothing but love and respect. That was a big aspect of the game, having love and respect and having the smaller tribes that got us all to connect much closer with each other. And I feel like I made a good connection with most people here. And that gave me an advantage when I was out of the loop, to know that I had places to fall back on, people to fall back on, these connections that I made because of these smaller tribes, maybe, or because of having just a lot more, just more emphasis on just the fun of the game, really. The fun of the Fantasy Island, just what this all is.
Amazing job to all three of you, and best of luck. Never stop fighting for the win, and I think all three of you have really, even though it can be very easy to think that, oh, I don't have a shot or my fight's the hardest, I'm very happy to see that all three of you are still fighting really hard, even though it's been a while since the season ended and all this. So all three of you really have shown that you deserve your spot here, and you guys are doing a really good job at not making this decision easy.
All right, next up, Kit.
Hi, Final Three. I just want to say congratulations on making it to the end. You all totally deserve it. Now, my question is going to be, out of every jury member, which do you think will be voting you?
That's a hard. Kit, honestly, I think it would be you, because I believe, and you kind of mentioned this earlier, that I was the only person in that final 7 to really come up with you and actually strategize with you before Tribal Council, and I think you made a statement after you got voted out saying so, and I hope that meant a lot. It definitely meant a lot to me. So that'd be my answer.
I feel like the two most likely to vote me, simply based off the events of the game, would be first and last member of the jury, Chill and Light, simply because I was, for one reason or another, when they went home, their target. For the first member of the jury and the last member of the jury, that really says a lot about my game, that I had that sort of arc of threat level, and I would hope that recognition still carries over here at the jury. I feel like I can definitely earn more, but those would be who I'd say are the most likely.
The people I'd be most likely to get their votes for, either Chill or Isaac. Because I think with Isaac, while most people didn't see what I was doing most of the time intentionally, Isaac was the one person that like saw what I was doing. And like even when I went and I was like straight up with Isaac, like, hey, I'm getting off my own game, like we were on good terms. And like I think Isaac saw what I was doing well. I think even now, some people just before this didn't know what I was doing the whole entire game. And I think Chill, because Chill was watching everything happen, and I think Chill saw what I was doing, and I think it shows that not just like one person's gonna be voting for me, but I can like appeal to multiple members of the jury.
All right, Kit, thank you so much. Next up is Lance.
All right, congrats to you three for making it this far. Something I wish I could have done, but some things came up. I got a few questions for all three of you. I wanted to start with Bayback. Bayback, I felt like, at least for me, we were never that close and you stayed really undercover. What was like your main alliance and how did you use that to get to where you are today?
I would definitely say it's very clear that one of my main alliances was with Electro. That was probably my strongest bond. While I had various alliances that I had to make different perceptions for, based on how much I talked to them and how much I didn't, how much they knew, I feel like Electro was the person I could be the most real with, and vice versa. Of course, going to Rocks for him and choosing to keep him over JJ in the pre-merge when the leaders went to Tribal again, when PvP and I held the power there. You know, I did a lot to help out Electro, and in return, I could rely a bit more on him having my back in the later votes, like at the final 6 when I wanted Kit out, in the further votes voting for Light over me at the final 4. I mean, it was just a genuine relationship that I could benefit from, and in a very chaotic season where I had to adapt to a lot of the chaos that a lot of people were throwing at me and at each other, it was just nice to have someone to ground myself with.
Another question I got is for Electro. Same type of question, similar situation. I did talk to you a little bit more than the two others though. How far did you expect to get in this game once you hit the merge? Because I did hear you name a few times, and honestly, from not watching the game, I have a lot to see because I am a little bit surprised. But it's not like, congratulations, you did it. You did what we all couldn't do. So how did you get here, and what was your main use of power to get here?
At the merge, I was a little unsure, as kind of everybody else was, you know, especially during pre-merge. You know, I got votes every single tribal council I went to, and even throughout the start of the merge and a long way through the merge, I got votes every single time. So I think there was a point where I did get confident that I wasn't going to be voted out. I mean, I was still pretty confident in the 10 and 9 vote. You know, the 8 vote, I was still a little less confident, but I think after that 8 vote, when I really started to take charge of my own game, it helped a lot. Like, I definitely knew I had some good allies to side with me, especially the core 4 that I was talking about a lot earlier. I mean, I was pretty confident for the most part. I got votes every single time, but I basically knew who was on that other side voting me, and that I had the numbers for the most part, except for that Echo vote. That's the one I can't say I knew 100%.
And then Grunt, I just want to know, because I only heard different things about you, and we never got to talk much either, is what was your main game plan going to this game, and did you execute it?
I think my main game plan was going in, was having a solid group of people that I trusted, and then going really far with them, and getting into a position where I can win in the end. And honestly, I can confidently say that that plan did not work out. And but I adapted, and instead of playing, oh, let me get me and my lanes farther, I played, hey, let's get Gurnt farther. And I think that was clear just because
after you left, every single person in the game was telling me who they were voting for, what was going to happen. I knew where the votes were going. I used that information to put myself in positions to get out the people I wanted to and get myself to the end. While my initial plan may not have, I'm glad it didn't, because it proved that I got here because of what I did, not because of what other people did.
All right, Lance, thank you. And once again, congratulations on your family situation. But moving things along, Chill, you're up.
I think this question would go better if it was asked earlier, but now I gotta read on other people. I have a question to say. One person I don't think is getting my vote. Even though I respect how you're able to get this far despite all this. Electro, I felt like you were most dependent on people. During Bayback, I felt that you were independent. Electro, prove how you were as independent as Bayback and Gurn.
It's hard to explain that because I think my sort of independence and like the moves I was making really counted on other people. There was definitely a couple moves I wanted to make, the PvP vote and the 2-2-2 split for sure. Yeah, I was independent in starting those moves, and then I just really needed allies by my side to help make them happen. But I think more importantly, the one thing I can kind of think of is when I was the only person who went to go talk to Kit after Kit was having a bad time emotionally during the final 7, and he said that I was only one who was actually willing to go talk to him and include him in the plans. I think that really defined my game. That was like an independent move in my game that only I was really to make, and I was the middleman talking back and forth between Kit and Gurnt and Light as well, trying to make this happen. And that's, I don't know, I just kind of personally proud of myself for that, and I don't know if that answers your question, but I think that is a little bit of independence for me.
All right, Gurnt, you're my buddy, but you contradicted yourself when you said you were under the radar, but you also said you were causing the chaos. Explain that. Like, I feel like you contradicted yourself there.
After you left, I honestly had no one I was close to, and everyone was fully aware that Gurnt's at the very bottom at that point. And I wanted to maintain that while still making moves. Me and Isaac, while it was still Isaac's move, we took out Echo. I was still on the bottom, but I was the chaos that allowed Echo to go home. When PvP went, I was the one that tied it and was the reason why both sides were voting for the other person. But I was still on the bottom, but I caused that tie, and I maintained my relationships with people still in the game. At the 2-2-2, well, I think all three of us claim responsibility, and I don't think it's either any one of our moves. No one saw me as a threat, but at the same time, 3 people were being voted for. 1 person won immunity, and I still didn't get any votes there. I used my connections to turn on other people, and that's why the votes were an Electro Bomb, or why Bayback was actually being considered at one point for being another 3rd person to get votes. But I was never considered, because I was using my connections while also trying to maintain perception on the bottom to cause this chaos, which ended up unfolding on that tribal council. I was the one that was able for Isaac to go home at 5 while still being at the. I think Electro Bomb knows, before the vote, I'm just hey, Light's the biggest threat, and once I won immunity, I'm yeah, Electro Bomb, we're voting Light. I took charge.
Right, Bayback, you're the person who had the hardest time coming up with the questions board. So, who out of the people who made the merge did you feel like you could beat the easiest?
Well, to be completely honest, I think the perception from everyone was that Kit was an easy person to beat at the end, even from Kit himself. As he left, he said, Bayback, I think you just voted out the one person who I think you can beat. And perception is reality, so that's just how it is. I think Kit was the easiest choice for me to beat in the end, but I made sure that Kit went home because I needed to get to the end and make sure that I could get to the end, knowing that my name was floating around for various reasons. I had just come off of winning 2 immunities, and I needed people I could rely on, people who I could influence by making Kit go home, force them to adapt, having this be their ideal final 3, because at one point or another, this wasn't the ideal final 3 for Gurnt, I'm sure.
Thanks to the final 3, now this question's been answered. There's one person who I am not voting. The other 2 still have it up in the air. So good luck to the 2 of you.
All right, Light. Without further ado, you're the last one up.
I'm just gonna say that this final 3, it's pretty close. There have been 3 different times between the break that I got voted out, and now that I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna vote this person, and then I thought that for all three of you, but now I'm still kind of in a position where I'm kind of stuck, and I'm not really sure which way to vote. Electra, let's start out with you first. This is just gonna be general statements for you three. Electro, I think that you played a really good social game with the people that you were aligned with. I think that some of the people that you weren't aligned with was kind of a bit on the weaker side. That, and also I feel like some of the moves that you were like mainly a part of, like for example the 2-2-2 at the final 6, I think all four of us can take credit for that. And I think the final 4 move, which I think you and Gurnt can both take credit for, once again that's shared. I don't necessarily think that you played the most independent game, but I think that you played a really good social game, and honestly I think that that should have been the main point that you should have like kind of went on, instead of trying to like make it seem that you played like the most independent like standalone game. Gurnt, I think that out of everyone here, I think you played the best middle game out of anyone on this cast, to be honest. Outside of some of the earlier jurors, which I don't think that you made the closest bonds with, I think that you played really well for like that middle part of the game. But wait, so you're saying that you controlled the PvP vote, right?
Well, I was between two alliances, and I was the reason I tied, and I was also responsible for like me, you, Electrobomb getting close together. I knew where the votes were going because people told me, so I was responsible for why it died in the first place, and also was like pinning people against each other for that vote. I wasn't like the one being like, oh yes, PvP's like going home, but like I was the one like making it so that PvP was the one, like I was leading it on PvP to be the one going home.
I'm just gonna say that, first of all, it was me that named it the Clueless Alliance, just a very minor correction. Second of all...
Really? Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that was me. And second of all, at least from my perspective, I didn't really see how you necessarily like controlled or like put the votes on PvP. Like the way I saw it was that like Kit and I had an idea, and then Kit went up to you, and then I went up to you, and then you were like asking me, you're like, oh yeah, what should we do this, or should we take the shot at PvP, or should we keep on Isaac? I didn't really see how you really contributed to that vote, considering that you didn't even vote with us, and it wouldn't have even mattered if you voted with us, and everyone else was already dead set on PvP anyways, like me, Kit, and Electro. So to me, that just kind of feels like I'm not really sure how you were involved in that vote, but let's just move on. Bayback, I think that for you being out of the loop so many times throughout the game, I think that you played very impressive. I think that you put shields in the right area, and I think it worked for you more than the other two, even more so, because you obviously had the target on your back for like the last 2 rounds. But honestly, a big problem I see with your speech, I mean, this is more so minor, but actually not really, it's kind of more so on the worst side, but you saying that Electro being your closest ally is like this big massive part of your speech, yet no one let you in on the final 7 vote, including Electro. It's like you saying that kind of puts Electro's game at a higher standpoint and yours at a lower, when you kind of just say that, oh, you know, I was like, it's good that you're admitting that you're left out on that vote, but for Electro not even tell you, or like anyone else in your alliance for that matter, is kind of bad, especially when you're trying to take that as a point that Electro is a close ally of yours. But anyways, those were just general statements. I don't want questions about that, so thank you guys for a great season, and hope to see you guys soon.
All right. Thank you so much, Light, for ending it off on a great statement. Bayback, Gert, Electro. Now these 7 jurors have your fate in their hands, as they will go vote one by one for one of you to win this game. Good luck, and let's start the voting.
Playing all sides, bringing things together, and maybe not doing it explicitly, but always playing everybody. For that alone, I believe you deserve my vote, and we'll see where the other votes fall.
Going into this, I think you played a pretty solid game across the board, and while personally I don't think you were always in on everything. I will say, I think game-wise, you were someone that had to fight from the bottom up and prove yourself. That's something that I don't think we give enough players credit for in Survivor.
Alright, so I was initially conflicted between two people, but I made my choice. You responded the best out of the three, and I hope you are the representative of the season.
All right, Electro, Gurnt, Bayback. Congratulations on making it this far into the game. You guys have done everything in your power to get here, and you guys did a hell of a job doing it. But everybody has voted. I'll tally the votes. All right, I have tallied the votes. This is the only time you three want to hear your name being read on these parchment papers. I will now read the votes. First vote, Bayback. Second vote, Gurnt. Third vote, Electro. 1 vote Bayback, 1 vote Gurnt, 1 vote Electro, 4 votes left. Bayback. Gurnt. That's 2 votes Bayback, 2 votes Gurnt, 1 vote Electro, 2 votes left. Electro. That's 2 votes Bayback, 2 votes Gurnt, 2 votes Electro, 1 vote left. And the winner of Kavanah's Minecraft Survivor Season 8 Fantasy Island, Gurnt. Congratulations, Gurnt, you have won Season 8 Fantasy Island and crowned Sole Survivor.
This is now Gurnt. I can't even say my own name, like Cap can't either. It's crazy seeing this now. This was like a year and a half ago, so it's really cool seeing that I won this. I didn't expect to win this at the time, being up against Bayback and Electro, but I'm glad I did, even if it wasn't a 3-2-2. It's really cool seeing everything back, and I don't regret how I played. I had a lot of great moments, and it was really fun to play in Cap's season. And I gotta say, I think the game-winning decision for me was going to Rocks for Chill and Cool.
Thank you all so much for watching this season. It has been a roller coaster full of advantages, blindsides, alliances, great challenge wins, and just some great overall gameplay. This season has been one of my favorites of all time, and I cannot wait to show you what's next. I will see you at the premiere of Season 9, Crystal Mountains. Stay tuned.